What day is it? It is day 4. It is day 4 for me, and it's day 3 of the main draw, and it's the first day of round 2. Okay, I think I got it all together. It's gonna take a minute for me to just and here's the thing, it's like every day I'm gonna have to look at my phone and make sure I have the days correct and, and the rounds correct. I think on the podcast that I recorded yesterday, was that yesterday? Yes. Yes, the podcast I recorded yesterday, I had the days wrong. And yeah, it's just what it is. Hi everybody. Welcome to the day 4, dispatch. This is actually going to be going out the same day as the day 3 dispatch. That's because day 3 was supposed to go out this morning and it didn't. I am behind. So tomorrow, which is the day 4 dispatch, day 3 and day 4 are going to come out on the same day. Apologies, but again, it is a lot of work covering a tournament by myself, trying to do this daily dispatches and do everything as well. It is exhausting, but I love to do it. I'm privileged to be able to be here and do this and share all of this information with you. I am so grateful that, I think at the City Open was the first time people came up to me and said, your ground pass, which was, okay, I take that back. That is actually not true. The very, very first time someone ever came up to me and said ground pass was at Charleston. And I was shocked. And it was only one person and it was awesome. At the City Open, it happened every single day I was there and I was floored. So to everyone out there listening, thank you. I always think there's one person listening to this with me and Nick, but I know there's more than one person, but that's what I kind of treat it as to keep it small and intimate. Oh my word, there's a drone flying overhead. I thought it was a big bee, but it's just a drone. But yeah, and at this tournament, 2 people have come up to me and said, your ground pass, and it really was, sorry, a kid was yelling over there, but it really kind of helps me keep going. But either way, back to what we're here for. We're here for a daily dispatch, and we're talking about outer courts, and we're on one of my favorite outer courts, court 10. Court 10. You know what it is? Okay, so with the new construction, there is now a Champions Court. Champions Court is court 21, but they call it Champions Court. It's one of the show courts. That is now one of my favorite courts. Yesterday's dispatch, or what you saw earlier today, day 3's dispatch, as I would call it, talked about Champions Court and how it's one of my favorite courts now, or it is my favorite court on the grounds. If we were to discuss outer courts, court 10 is my favorite court. It's a sunken court. It feels like you're not so much on top of the players, but you just seem closer to them a little bit. Claire V. Nguyen was playing here today, and it was really nice to see her. It was it's so funny. She just got her first tour level win yesterday, and she was playing Elise Mertens here today. She didn't get through and win, but she took it to 3 sets. That was a pretty awesome match to watch here. And in a setting like this, where there is a big crowd cheering her on, that's the kind of match that you want at her level, trying to make it through to the next round. At least I think so. And that's what outer courts are all about. If you have listened to Ground Pass for 5 minutes, all we talk about are the outer courts. That's what we say, come to a tournament on a Ground Pass and go to the outer courts and enjoy tennis up close and personal. I literally heard someone in the audience today talk to their friend and say, we're here because you can see the players closer. We're not in the big, center court, which is the court right behind me here, where they're so far away and you really can't see them up close and personal. This tournament doesn't have a ground pass. In fact, they only have one type of ticket. They just sell a day session and a night session, and that's it. They have reserved seats for center court, which is behind me, and for grandstand. That's it. Everything else is a free-for-all, ground passy. So what you do is you buy a ticket to either center court or grandstand, and that gets you around. You can go sit anywhere you want, and you have a reserved ticket in one of those big stadiums there, in one of the show courts anyway. And that, I think, it's interesting because I don't know sort of the economy, sort of the finances of it really. I just think of, let's just say there are 50 seats in center court and 50 seats in grandstand. So that's 100 seats, and you sell 100 tickets in the day session and 100 tickets in the night session. So you're sold out, right? Those 100 people are also going to wander around the outside courts, but they're never going to fill anywhere. So for me, it's interesting to see, there's never going to be an absolutely packed stadium, if you understand what I mean. So, so I don't know. I always say there should be a ground pass places. They just don't do one here. That's all they do. They do the reserved seats, and then, it's not even a reserved seat, it's just sessions. They do day sessions and night sessions. So you could just do day session and not have a reserved seat, and it's like general admission, kind of. But yeah, it's interesting. Ground passes, tournaments, do ground passes. Because you can get a reserved seat in grandstand that won't let you into center court. Center court is the only reserved ticket that gets you everywhere. Yeah. Ticketing in tennis tournaments. We could have an entire podcast about that. But in general, the outside courts here are great. There are a lot of them. I will insert some clips here. Court 10 is the biggest one of the outside courts. Then you have court 4, which is behind court 3, behind stadium 3, which is one of the show courts. So that's court 4 is another big one. And then in kind of like a row, you have 5, 6, 7, 8, and they're all and 9, and they're all identical type sized outer courts. A lot of times they're also used as practice courts. And they actually just keep going. I'm interested to see once double starts if they will extend past 9. For right now, matches haven't been sort of scheduled outside of court 9. So it's been great. Like all the other courts that are scattered around, 10, 11, 12 have all been used as practice courts. A lot of the players this year have been saying that it's really nice that they have so many practice courts. Usually, and most people might not know this, but at Grand Slams, even Grand Slams, Master 1000s, because there's so many players and there's singles and doubles players all at the same site at the same time, a lot of times there aren't enough practice courts for everyone. A lot of times they have to go to outside courts to practice. And this site seems to be able to accommodate everyone this year. I know last year some people had to go to outside courts to practice, so that's nice. So those are the outside courts. I think they're pretty great, pretty well set up. Viewing in all of them are pretty nice. With the outside courts though, what you'll notice is, on court 10, you can have baseline seats, which usually are the best seats in the house. So you can be on the baseline and kind of see the entire court. But it's the only outside court that has baseline seating. Court 4 doesn't have it, and all of the smaller courts don't have it either. They just have seating on the sides. So yeah, great setup, I think, for outside courts. A lot of space too. They're not like crammed. Like something you'll see at the US Open, they have like some of their outside courts that are literally back to back to back. where and there's no sort of fence dividing it. Here you have, sometimes it's not really a fence. Some of them have fences, but sometimes you have a hedge, but at least there's some sort of division that you can't really see the other side. In the New York Open, it's just like Open. You can't, a lot of times the crowd blocks the other court, but still it's more open, I think, than here. But the one thing that the US Open does have an advantage of over here is that they have baseline seating for their outer courts. So that's the outer courts at the City Open. Not bad. They're not bad. I just wish they had a ground pass. That's all I would say there. Today's matches, round two started today, which means all of the seeds started playing today. Not all of them. Round two continues tomorrow, but you had Iga Świątek, Sinner playing today. Frances Tiafoe is on court right now. Aryna Sabalenka just finished playing. Taylor Fritz is about to get on court right now. What you might notice is, you probably don't notice because you're not here with me, but the sun is setting, but it's pretty early. It is currently, it's almost 9. It's not 9 o'clock yet. And pretty much there's only 2 matches left, which is crazy. So Frances Tiafoe, his match is going on right now. It might be over as we speak. He's about to break, and if he breaks, he wins his match. Flavio Cobolli is in a tight third set, and then Taylor Fritz is about to come to court. That is it for the day. This day moved quick. It moved so quick that pretty much a lot of the show courts had to add matches to their day so that it wasn't, too short of a day session for the fans, because center court was done with their day session by 3:30, I think. Basically, Sinner flew through his match in under an hour. Iga Świątek was pretty fast as well. Who was the other person? Tommy Paul was also fast through his match during the day session, and then they added a doubles match to the day session so that it could be full. And then they started, the night session on time. Same thing kind of happened on Did the same thing happen on Grandstand? No, I think Grandstand was pretty okay, but still matches have moved pretty quickly today. There were a couple of upsets already. Lorenzo Musetti lost on this court. Unfortunately, he was having a very bad time on this court. I think a lot of the players are still, this is kind of a little bit their adjustment period, because they just played in Canada. Canada is not this hot and humid. I cannot explain to you all how hot and humid it is here. It is ridiculous. It is really, really tough to play in these conditions if you're not used to it. So, he lost here. Casper Ruud lost today to Arthur Rinderknecht. I did not realize that Casper Ruud doesn't do well at this tournament like ever. I think someone was telling me he's only made it past the first round once. So I feel like that's almost not an upset, but still, I'm sure he would have wanted to stay much longer at this tournament. Peyton Stearns lost today to Anna Kalinskaya. Is that an upset? Not so much, but this is her home tournament. Pretty tough loss for her. What other matches happened? Oh, Madison Keys almost got upset on Grandstand. Ava Lease was playing very, very well, and Madison Keys could not find her game for a lot of that match. Like, it was very touch and go. She had to save 2 match points. I think there were 2 match points that she had to save. And then she was able to win that match. So really, really tough going there. Emma Raducanu played today. Played excellently. She has a new coach. She seems to be, again, just doing well. And I think she's not really putting any expectations on herself to win tournaments or anything. She just wants to get better at playing tennis, which I find very interesting. I like, she wants to just get better with her, physique, technique, things like that, versus fighting for title or anything like that, which is interesting. what other fun things happened today? I mean, Corentin Moutet played today, and I was on the court for a bit, and I was there when it ended as well. And the crowds were leaving, and more than one person was like, "That was fun." He smashed his racket at the end. Like he did the Corentin Moutet thing, and a lot of people enjoyed that for sure. Yeah, today was a great day of tennis. The grounds were packed. Today is the first weekend. Saturday, I expect more of the same. Tomorrow, Sunday. And it's just nice to see people out here enjoying tennis and being, just appreciative of the game. Ben Shelton came into press today. I'll put the audio of his press conference. He's just I think he's trying to not feed into the hype a bit, and he's just trying to calmly go through it. He was pretty subdued. Maybe subdued is not the word, but he was definitely not hyper and hyped about anything. He was just even keeled. I like that word. Even keeled is how he was. Iga Świątek's press conference was a joy. It started out just talking about her tennis, and it ended by talking about Wicked and musicals and all the TV shows she has not watched. I will leave the audio. It was so joyful. It was really great. And all the other audio of press conferences that happened today, again, I will leave. I feel like it's nice to hear directly from players speaking for themselves, and you can hear what they say in response to questions in their own voice. The reason I also say that is because Stefanos Tsitsipas came into press as well, and we got to talk to him. He's an interesting fella, very interesting fella, and I think he's misunderstood maybe a lot, and I just feel like, is he quirky and a thinker and, intellectual maybe, but he's interesting, and he had some interesting things to say today. What else happened? I mean, so much happened today. So much happened I couldn't put a podcast out, and the Substack, because there was just so much going on. But I am going to call it a day. I don't think I'm going to stay for Taylor's match. So sorry, Taylor Fritz, but I have to pace myself because we're here for a few more days and we have so much more to cover. So recap. We've done practice courts. We've done show courts. We've done outer courts. So what's next? What next should we cover? I think we should do fan zones. We should do fan zones tomorrow. Let's do that. Yeah, we'll do fan zones tomorrow, and then maybe we'll save the food for Monday. I'm pacing myself with the food because I feel like that's going to be a whole thing. If I forgot anything, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you're loving. I hope I haven't been too rambly. I tend to be, because this is the end of the day and my brain is mush. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the sunset. Bye, guys.